So YouTube, you want to buy One Piece cards and you don't know the best way to do it. Bigace is here today to rant about how to buy One Piece cards, how to source stuff, everything from cases down to single cards, single booster packs. I'm going to go over all the ways to buy One Piece cards, the methods, the good ones, the bad ones, my thoughts of them, maybe some tips you don't know. So if you're buying One Piece cards, you've thought about buying One Piece cards, you've been wanting to buy One Piece cards, I'm hanging out in front of the case wall today. Yes, these are real sealed cases. They are real. It is not green screen. You can touch these things. I even have some here I can pick up. They're a bit heavy, a bit 30 pounds. You know, I do have the gains to pick them up. That's where these came from, guys. Those of you asking about muscles, I curl cases every single day. But back to the topic. Okay. So let's start with, like, you know, your average person. They just want to buy one or two packs. They want to rip the packs, and they don't want the packs to be dead packs. They want an actual chance, buying one booster pack, that they could get the manga card from that set worth thousands of dollars. That person should not be buying loose packs from the vast majority of spots because they know that that spot is probably selling dead packs. So what do? Personally, I think the only real method for that person is probably to buy from a trusted seller. Now, what does that mean? It means you probably need to buy from Walmart or Target directly, from one of the Walmart or Targets where they keep the packs locked up behind one of those displays. So a lot of the Walmarts here in Toronto and Ontario, they do now lock up the packs behind these little glass displays so the worker needs to come open for you, thus meaning it's very unlikely those packs have been weighed and tampered with. So if you do grab one of those booster packs from Walmart, probably a pretty good chance that you could pull the manga, you know, like that's a decent opportunity. That's a decent chance for you who just want to buy a single booster pack. The other opportunity that you could buy one booster pack would, of course, I know it's going to sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but like streamers online, whether they're on Whatnot or TikTok or YouTube, a lot of these streamers, they do case breaks or box breaks where they will open all 288 packs from a case. And thus, you know, because a lot of them will track it on screen, that the hits are still live and that booster pack is an actual real chance at the best hits in the set or whatever hit you are particularly going for. Damn. Okay, yeah, I got lost in the sauce there for a bit, guys. Let's continue, you know, a bit of unscripted. I don't script these, they're just off the dome. I just sit down with a general idea what I want to talk about. So the next thing would probably be those of you who are trying to buy sealed booster boxes or other sealed product. That's probably the number one thing that most people who are reaching out to me have issue buying. You know, they see me with all my sealed cases and they want to buy sealed cases themselves, or they want to buy sealed booster boxes if they're not a big baller, a higher end investor who wants to buy entire sealed cases, but they want to be buying booster boxes from sealed cases that they know are not dead booster boxes, that they know are minty, that they know they can invest in and hold and trust in long term. Now, those people, honestly, the best way, you're not going to want to hear this, it's just buy in the open market. Search up on the internet, go to a bunch of game store websites, shop all over the internet and find the cheapest booster box of whatever set you're looking for and order that booster box, ideally from a seller with over 100 5-star reviews so that you know that seller's reputation is worth more than the, you know, potential loss they would have from selling you dead boxes. But I mean, even then, sellers with over 100 views, they could still be pieces of shit. So if you're really somebody who intends to rip the booster box that you're buying, not just keep it sealed, in which case, I guess it doesn't matter that much of it's a booster box. You're going to keep it sealed and definitely resell it sealed. But if you're going to rip the booster box, you do really want to sometimes be paying a slight premium to buy from a seller or a shop where you are getting it from a sealed case. Again, you know, Whatnot streamers or YouTube or TikTok streamers are a great option for this because they do case breaks on a single day where they'll open a case, sell all 12 booster boxes from it. Alternatively, you know, reaching out to game shops or visiting shops in person, having a chat with the owner and discussing, you know, like, did this come from a case? Do you know if any of the hits have been hit from the case? That's always a great option, but not really accessible to most people because, like, going in person to a game shop, really, like, it's 2026. Most of the commerce happens online. You want to be able to buy and acquire your booster boxes from your home, from your phone, from your computer, and have them come to your house so you can open them in your own space, in your own vibe, in your own way. Like, that's my personal experience. I don't really love having to physically go to game shops. I much prefer the online shopping experience. And I've also seen way more success at the online shopping experience with a bit of human interaction mixed in. So, like, you can really optimize the purchasing experience from a lot of these local game stores, which is where the majority of One Piece boxes pass through, right? The vast majority of One Piece supply is being shipped from distro to game shops who are Bandai Plus approved. And then those game shops are selling to the end users like myself and those of you watching me here on YouTube and Instagram or wherever this is posted. Those shops, they will sell you sealed cases if you build a relationship with them. If you add 12 sealed booster boxes to your cart and check out, and then you give a call a shop, you call them up on the phone, be like, hey, listen, check me out. I just placed this order. Here's my order number. I bought 12 sealed booster boxes. I would love if you could ship them in this sealed case. A lot of stores will say, yes, it's easier for them. They don't need to open it and repackage it and reship it. They just put it on. And then on top of that, I typically also ask the shop in the email or on the call if they could put that sealed case inside another outer box instead of putting the label directly on the sealed case, because a lot of them will do that. If you see the back of this case wall, holy shit, half of these cases do have shipping labels with my name and information on them. So I do have that obviously faced the other way. But like, it honestly, for me, kills the aesthetic of the case, sort of kills a bit of the collectability if the case is the collectible item that you intend to resell down the line, which for a lot of my cases, that is the move. I am sitting on these sealed cases with the expectation they will be worth significantly more down the future, and I'll be able to trade those cases for other sealed products or even for, you know, like something cool I want. Maybe somebody will trade me like a freaking OP13 case for a car down the line. That'd be a freaking crazy trade. Anyways, even the shops are like, oh, you know, it's going to be extra. I'm like, you know, listen, it's a $4,000, $5,000 case, $3,000, whatever it is, depending on the set. Like, I'm down to pay the additional shipping cost that you are asking to ship the case in an outside box. And I normally state that in my first email. And then a lot of shops will say, yes, I'll do that. And they'll just mark it up $25. Some of them are going to do it anyways, but like they see a money making opportunity, $25. Like, it's not a big deal for a $7,000 item to add 1%. To have that shipped in an outside box so you know it's going to arrive mint, undamaged. They don't need to put shipping labels on it. And then also, you also get the protection of having such a high value item shipped to your door from, you know, porch pirates or nefarious postal workers who will, over time, as One Piece grows, just like Pokemon, understand that this is a massively valuable, untrackable item. So I really do recommend that when you're reaching out to these shame shop owners and you're saying ship me a case, you do just add that extra line, you know, put it in an outside box. I'll pay the extra money if required, you know, wrap it in some bubble wrap for me. Appreciate if you do that. Thanks so much. And just being a human and kind to them and reaching out to them and giving them a call and sending them an email is so much further above what your average customer is doing that it honestly is really that simple and often works. So, you know, that's also a great option for acquiring older product that, you know, you're going to have to pay market price. Like, if you don't already own a case of OP11, there's not magically more OP11 coming from Bandai anytime soon. So the only place you're going to be able to buy a case of OP11 or booster box of OP11 is on the secondary market from people who already own those products, which are generally going to be game shops. Or, of course, the next place that you can really source product that I was going to talk about in this video, Facebook Marketplace, the wild west of sourcing. It is the jungle. It is a mess, but that is where the best deals can also be found. You can find some gems amongst the rough if you are willing to slug through the bullshit that is Facebook Marketplace. Like, if you're going to get into the Facebook Marketplace, guys, be prepared for the bullshit. I'm talking hundreds of messages per successful deal is probably going to be your rate, like over 100 bullshit messages per message with a person that actually ends up being a profitable, good buy deal for you or sell. Of people saying, would you take this low ball, giving you their life story or crying or all this bullshit, talking about their family, telling you that other sellers have it cheaper. Like, if other sellers have it cheaper, go buy it. And you get into these same conversations over and over again with the same people or different people. I guess it's just like people who are so low IQ, like so left curve, they fall into the same passive thinking, and it feels like you've had the same conversation with like 26 different people in the same week after you list up like a listing saying like, you know, I'm selling an OP11 case. I'm selling it for $7,000. Market price is like $7,400. That's a good deal. You won't take less prices firm. And then you get like 6,000 messages from people lowballing you like $2,000. It's like, what a headache. But selling or buying on Facebook Marketplace, again, you are going to find the best deals on average because you're paying cash. Generally, you're paying cash or a cash equivalent like e-transfer or Venmo or whatever it is in your part of the world. And as a result, there's no taxes. There's no government getting involved. You can give more aggressive prices. There's no platform fees compared to selling on eBay or TCG Player, which will generally take like a 10 to 15% cut. So you can get really aggressive deals. And of course, cash in hand. A lot of people are impatient. They want to buy or they want to sell the thing and they want it immediately. When they buy the OP13 box for $600, they don't want to wait 2 days for it to ship to them. They want to buy it and they want to rip it that same freaking day. So people are often willing to pay a little bit of a premium for the newest, bestest shit on Facebook if you are selling it there. So that's a little bit of an edge for you there. But Facebook is a great place to buy. It's a great place to acquire a product in your local community. Simply, you need patience and you need to be willing to slug through it. So join all your local One Piece trading card groups or your multi-trading card groups. Some of them are Mr. Pokemon, and start posting in there. Post what you're buying. Post pictures, high quality posts. Hello, my name is Bigace and I am buying OP13 booster boxes. I am paying $6.75 Canadian per sealed booster box. Please send me a DM with a picture and where you are located. And here are the payment methods that I'm offering. Be very concise, very detailed to try to eliminate as many of the bullshit messages as possible. And if you repost that message enough times on enough groups, you repost it once a week, you repost on Facebook Marketplace once a day or whatever it is, however hard you want to hustle, you will have people reach out to you that will convert to deals where you are obtaining product generally cheaper than the lowest listed price on game store websites or on eBay or on TCG Player. So that is, if you have low bread, if you're really trying to hustle and squeeze every single penny and edge out every little successful percentage point, like if you can get it 2% cheaper, you're the kind of person who you will hustle to get that deal for 2% cheaper. Facebook is probably your playground where you should be spending a lot of your time in Facebook groups. People say Facebook is dead, Facebook's are boomers, but it does have 2 to 3 billion daily active users. A good percent of the people who do trading cards use those Facebook groups because most people don't have a massive audience on Instagram or eBay or whatnot or TikTok Shop where they can do their buying and selling and trading successfully, because generally on those websites, as I've said previously, you do need a lot of reviews and a lot of reputation in order to make deals happen. My eBay didn't really start to see massive success until I had over 100 positive 5-star reviews and I became a top rated seller. That's at which point I started to see people being more comfortable buying expensive sealed boxes and manga cards and cases from me. But prior to that, it was a really slow grind out. Whereas, Facebook, people are more comfortable buying the expensive thing from you because they physically get to see it and touch it and see you're a real person and validate it and look at it in person right as they're giving you the cash. So again, if you're sort of new and you don't really have a huge background, or you're not going to be slogging this out doing hundreds of trades and deals, again, Facebook is a great place for you. But that does bring me to the next great place, indisputable, one of the top resources for sourcing One Piece cards, eBay. Objectively, the largest trading card marketplace in the entire world online. There's more volume, there's more dollars being spent, being bought, being sold on eBay than anywhere else in the world on any given day over a 24-hour period, over 1 month, over a 1 week period. So if you are trying to sell, you are trying to buy One Piece cards, and you can't find it at the traditional locations, you cannot find it on Facebook, you cannot find it at local game shops in your area, your country, generally people then they turn to eBay, like all of you have before, for the weird obscure thing where, guess what? The only place on the internet it's listed is eBay. Or when you're trying to sell and you have a very grail item, a very expensive thing, and you want to get global exposure of buying pools of buyers to get the highest possible price selling that thing, then yeah, you list it up on eBay, like a PSA 10 manga Luffy. You're going to do better selling that on eBay than listing up on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe you find a buyer in Facebook Marketplace, but realistically, there's not that many buyers out there in the world for a Red Luffy manga at $30,000. So really, you do need to put that up on eBay to get the eyeballs of all the potential buyers around the world on that thing. And you will pay eBay a massive percent fee. But that does bring me to the next thing. The method for selling high-end One Piece slabs on eBay is absolutely not to auction it yourself, but to use one of the major auction houses. If you auction a major slab yourself, even if you're a top-rated seller like myself, you will pay 13.3% all-in fees after the sold price. So if you sell a manga card for $10,000, you're paying over $1,000 to eBay, $1,300 to be precise, simply for the convenience of being able to use their platform. However, top auction houses, their percent cut is even lower than the eBay percent cut because they have private deals with eBay. Like Probe Scene Auction House is a great example, or auctioning through PSA. That's a great example. those auction houses will generally charge you somewhere in the range of 5 to 10%, which is less than even the eBay top rated seller percentage. So when you're selling massively expensive items, that few percentage point can be quite a significant amount of money, hundreds or thousands of dollars difference. Plus, you don't need to do the work yourself. You don't need to auction it. You don't need to like screen buyers and make sure they're legit and look at their feedback, make sure you're not getting scammed. You simply give your card to the auction house. The auction house auctions off for you. They have a way bigger pool of eyeballs on that listing than you ever will have. A probe scene auction will always have more views and always have more attention and more bidders and more watchers than any auction any of us, myself included, can ever run. And they charge fewer percent. It's definitely the move for higher end stuff. Of course, if you're just auctioning off or just trying to sell off like a single booster box or a single random thing, yeah, maybe not worth the effort to go through these auction houses for every single thing. But in most cases, if you're auctioning off a grail item, which most of us probably don't have like 100 of them, you might as well go through the effort for that one-off thing that you're selling, that Luffy manga, that Nami manga, that Zoro manga, that awesome thing that's probably very valuable to you, and you care a lot about getting the best possible price. You really should juice it out using auction houses to get that lower percent fee, which will really end up being the equivalent of a higher sold price. Even if it sells for the same price on Probe Scene versus your own eBay account, you are getting more money in your pocket. So, something to think about. Other places you can source One Piece cards, of course, there's always the Bandai store, but the Bandai stores are sort of mid now that Bandai has changed their policy to the fact that when you go to most Bandai stores, you're getting 6 or 12 packs from a box where they're unsealed, they're giving you the pack. So it's sort of bullshit, because as somebody who generally opens entire cases or entire booster boxes to guarantee I will get the case hit, it's like I could go to a Bandai store and line up and get a 6 or 12 packs and get nothing. I could get like 6 leader packs or a bunch of bullshit, like all the dead packs in the box. And then I don't even have the option to say like, oh, I bought 12 packs, Bandai, I got nothing. Can I buy the other 12 from the box? Like, nah, bitch, you can't, not allowed. That's above customer limits. You're a total scalper if you want to buy a single booster box of packs. Unacceptable. Like, I don't understand why Bandai is doing this experience. Like, at the very least, sure, cut the seals, but like, you got to sell entire booster boxes to the people. Like, the product was designed and shipped such that the opening experience for somebody who's getting into One Piece, who's buying sealed product, is to buy a booster box and open all 24 or 20 packs or premium boosters of the booster box, guaranteeing that they get both a secret rare and an alt art hit at minimum, giving them the experience of opening the One Piece cards and seeing the tiered, like, you know what I mean? Like, you get the common packs, oh, it's too bad. You get the leader packs, oh, come on. You get the SR, okay, not so bad. You get the secret rare pack, nice, this is pretty sick. You get that alt art pack and you're like, hell yeah, bang, that's the experience of opening the product. That's what we're paying for. And the fact that there's so many people going to the Bandai store being forced to buy only 6 booster packs in most cases, on average, math says that like 2 out of those 4 people, they're going to have a terrible opening experience because they're going to open all 6 booster packs and they're going to get nothing. So I don't know why Bandai's doing that. So I think Bandai stores are sourcing sort of mid. They used to be like pretty freaking S tier back when you could go to these Bandai stores and there was like pretty much no customer limit. Like, 12 months ago, I could go to Bandai stores and just buy like 10, 20 booster boxes at MSRP, open them all right there in the store, have a fucking blast. They always had a wide variety of products, but just, they haven't been able to keep up with demand. And I think it's probably going to be like 2 to 4 financial quarters realistically before Bandai stores can go back to how they were, where they have the supply required from new printing facilities and new distributors, such that they can actually start selling multiple booster boxes, or at the very least entire booster boxes. So for now, I'm going to say like Bandai stores sort of D tier, C tier. Pricing is good, but I don't know, like lining up in an hour plus line for your average Bandai store, sometimes 2 hours to be able to buy $30 a product. Not really worth it for most people, in my opinion. Next place we have to talk about, obviously, this one has the biggest problem with scalpers, which is a term I really hate, but nonetheless, Walmarts and Targets and other retail shops across the USA, whether it's like Barnes and Nobles or Hot Topics, but there's various like major corporate chain retailers, Walmart and Target being the biggest, who do get massive shipments, massive supply of One Piece cards and other trading cards, which are, the number one target for people who are looking to, buy out huge swaths of product at MSRP, because all of these distributors and retailers they do sell at MSRP regardless. Like they're not marking up like local game shops. Like when you go to Walmart, the packs will always be the exact same price. You know, the next set will be the same price. It's always going to be the expected price. Some Targets have started to put in like customer limits, but I mean, here in Canada, where I am, the Walmarts, none of them have a customer limit. So I mean, if you do find a One Piece restock, which is generally what happens, the person who finds a restock first or second just buys every single pack. We actually have a huge problem right now here in the Toronto area where there's a few game shop owners who are actually paying employees like minimum wage to sit in the aisles of the TCG section at Walmarts just like all day long, like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So they're there for the restock. And then the moment the person comes in and restocks the pack, it's just like, ba-bam, snipe, snipe, snipe. They buy every single freaking pack. Nobody has a chance. They've been sitting there in like a camping chair in the middle of the aisle for like 4.5 hours. And they bring all those packs to the local game shop that's paying them. That guy marks it up double, triple. He makes a good profit on top of what he paid the person. And I mean, like, yeah, it's capitalism. Game respect game. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, like that's the king scalper. Like as Rudy says, like scalper bought 6,000. Like that guy is the absolute Chad, king of scalpers, getting hundreds of packs from all sorts of different Walmarts all over the city, aggregate them all together into a game shop and then reselling them for way more. He's printing money. Oh my God, what a piece of shit. Think of the kids. All the arguments that people do about scalpers. But like, when it boils down to it, the Walmart supply generally is sort of like a fraction compared to the distro supply, and it's always going to be like that. Like in terms of the total number of booster packs that are being shipped to like Walmart versus the total number of booster packs that are cumulatively being shipped to all the game shops who are Bandai Plus approved game shops, it's like that's where the majority of the liquidity is. That's what's impacting market price. It's not the random blister packs from Walmart that Buddy is buying like 300 of them. It does not matter. Like when you actually think about volume of product, I'm like so far lost in the sourcing product, but like welcome to the bigace rants. Like we get deep here. Like how many booster cases are being printed versus blister cases is actually like an interesting thought experiment to do. And I've done it a lot. Obviously, I'm a data-driven individual, professionally and personally. I'm probably saying it's like 10%. I'm probably saying for every single blister pack that has existed for recent sets, there's 10 booster packs. I know that sounds wild, but like that's realistically thought experiment data. I've done it. So when you compare like, you know, if you purchased every single freaking pack that hits Walmarts and Targets across the whole country, you're still only getting like 10% on average of the total supply of that particular set because there's still that behemoth 90% that is shipped in the form of sealed booster boxes or ancillary products, but mostly in sealed booster boxes to various game shops and various individuals who do have access to the very few Bandai approved distributors. There's 2 of them in the USA. There's 1 of them in Canada. I think there's 2 in the European region. And you know, like those guys, that's where most of the liquidity, most of the product is coming through. And that's really what defines the prices, not the Walmart scalpers, not the pieces of shit whoever's hating on. The public is so focused on. Those people are not the individuals who are causing sealed product to raise in price and be worth more than MSRP. It's the people who have distro access who are choosing to set their price of sale point at market price, which welcome to capitalism. They're free to do it. But as long as those people are setting their sale point, like that's where the majority of liquidity, the majority of the product, the majority of spending is going to go. If all the game shops who are buying EBO3 currently from the distributors at a couple $100 are all going to uniformly list it at $350 US, like 500 Canadian, then yeah, any packs found at Walmart that you can buy for like $5 US or $10 Canadian, they're going to get instantly purchased out because market price of those packs is now $30. So of course, everybody's going to instantly purchase them out. Whether it's a single individual doing a massive scalping or just you guys buying 2 packs here, 2 packs there, of course, everybody's going to buy it. Whether you intend to open it or scalp it, it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't know why everybody cares so much. Once somebody else owns another thing, why do you care what they do with it? It's like, it's so weird. Like, once I buy a booster pack of One Piece cards, why do you care if I rip it or I resell it to another individual? And like, why do you care if another individual is going to pay more money from it? Like, they're an adult with their own money. They're not impacting you at all. The market price is already that $30. Whether that person resells 100 blister packs that he bought for $10 for $30 or not does not impact the market price. Like, there's not enough liquidity to move the needle in markets. There's not enough blisters that could be sold at Walmart or Target to actually move the needle in the market price for any One Piece card sealed product. As I guess like the overarching point of this like last few minutes rant. So again, If you're trying to source One Piece cards, if you don't have a lot of money, you're just looking for single booster packs, generally the best place to get it, like, is honestly just going to be like, pull up your phone, buy from your favorite trusted seller on the internet. Generally, those people are going to be selling single off booster packs that are live packs, because their reputation and the amount of money that they're making selling One Piece product and other TCGs online is not going to be worth the rub of identifying the dead packs and weighing the boxes and pulling the case hits and so forth. That's probably the place to get it if you're going for just a single pack. If you're going for a single sealed booster box, generally you do want to be getting that sealed booster box if you were going to rip it from a sealed case. Now, again, I did mention a lot of ways about going about this, but again, it goes back to just trust. Everything in TCG, all sourcing is trust-based. So, like, I would love to have given you, like, a website that you could go buy from everything. And, of course, there is the premium Bandai website, which I probably should have mentioned this brand, but, like, TLDR, pbandai.com, they release pre-orders a few times a year. You have to be quick as fuck. They generally sell within an hour or two. Every single product that's ever been sold by premium Bandai has generally been worth more than MSRP on release. So it's sort of like free money. The market's been trained to understand that you buy premium Bandai products at MSRP. However, the caveat is, for people like me who are Canadian, they only ship to US-based addresses. So, like, what I did is I bought a P.O. box just over the border and I shipped my stuff there. But if you are Canadian, to know US address or anywhere else in the world, not really useful for you. And again, sourcing One Piece products the best way, sourcing cases. And then as you get your bread up, you can scale. So the first time you buy a single case from a game shop owner, they're going to be like, okay, like, I'll sell you a case. You buy 12 boxes and it goes through smoothly. You send them an email, you call them up, ship an outside box, it's discussed. The next time, the next set that comes out, let's say you did that for OP15, it's coming out next. That's the next release. For OP16 release, you send them an order, you send them an email being like, hey, thanks so much for that OP15 case. I had a really fun time opening it. I had a blast. Thanks so much for supporting me and letting me support you. For OP16, I would like to get 2 cases or 3 cases. Could you hook me up? You give them out on the phone call, or you send them an email, or however you previously communicated with this individual who owns a game store. A lot of people, they're going to be a reasonable game store, and they're going to say, yeah, sure, I'm down for that. We can make something happen. And then, you can sometimes even pay them in cash or pay them in a cash equivalent, or they'll just be like, here's a listing on my website. Go buy 24 boxes at this listing, and I'll send you 2 sealed cases when the set comes out. And, like, if you just keep doing that with various game stores where you have relationships with not just one game store in your area, but, 5 game stores, 10 game stores, 100 game stores, depending on your scale, on like how much product you're really looking to acquire on a time frame, those relationships are invaluable, because everything in business is who you know, not like it's such a cliche bullshit thing to say. And like, I feel it's cringe to say it, but like, it is the truth. In TCGs, knowing people at various stages of the supply chain, so knowing game shop owners and knowing people who work at distro and knowing people who, handle logistics for various people, intermediaries between those individuals, and, knowing people who run premium Bandai tournaments and knowing people who work at various shops. Like, as you meet people in the industry, establish those relationships, like actually chat them up, get to know them, and try to give them value yourself, and then you get value back from them. Sometimes that value you give them, it can just be money, right? Like, most of the time it is money. You own a game shop, I'm going to give you a big fat wad of money, and you're going to sell me a case of One Piece cards. It saves the game shop owner money because, of course, if I give him $4,000 for a case of One Piece cards, he only has to ship one thing to me one time, as opposed to selling that case to 12 different people. He's shipping 12 things to 12 people. That takes more time, more money, more effort, more shipping supplies. It's higher risk for him, right? Shipping 12 orders is a higher likelihood that a few of those orders will get misdelivered or damaged, or there'll be a chargeback or an unhappy customer or somebody who wants to return it. You could obviously make the argument for game shops that selling to 12 people is 12 potential return customers. You're building a larger customer loyalty base, which you have like less volatility in the hard times. So like, there is arguments for both things, but nonetheless, you understand the perspective of like, in business, you do make more money, more faster, generally selling higher ticket items as opposed to, grinding out crap tons of low end items, because, like, to sell a bunch of low-end items and make profit, like if you're selling single booster packs, it's a lot harder unless you have a bunch of employees to scale and like you become an Amazon level logistics business. But like most game shops, there's generally going to be like one or a few employees. So for that individual to make more money per sale, they're going to make more money per day, because like that guy can only really like pack up and ship up so much orders. I mean, I don't know. I'm just ranting. Just like, all over the place on this rant. Hopefully you enjoyed this rant, guys, and shoot that subscribe button if you already haven't. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and I'm going to be talking about more like creative ways of sourcing. I did have like a really long detailed video, but I'm just going to be like shooting up the dome. I much prefer these unscripted videos. It's just like easier to sit down, vibe out with you guys, chat One Piece cards, and you know, leave some comments about any like topics you'd like me to discuss. I did have somebody in like a previous comment be like, what's your thoughts on Riftbound? Like, TLDR, my thoughts on Riftbound is Riot Games does not have the discipline to never reprint old sets. The moment Riot Games, or their company that they have delegated to create the Riftbound cards, has a tough financial quarter where, you know, revenues and sales are hurting, will they have the discipline not to reprint first edition, second edition, early sets and actually flood the market, killing value for collectors and players alike, potentially killing the game, just to juice the revenues for that quarter as a corporation who does trade and, you know, have to keep their stock price and share price high? Personally, I doubt it. They have a track record, that company, of lack of discipline. When they see an easy cash grab, when they see they can create a parachute of money and you know, drop that shit into their financial quarter by reprinting an old in-demand set, like if they were to reprint the first ever Riftbound booster box, everybody's in Riftbound and buy the shit out of that, not realizing that they intend to flood the market and reprint a crap ton of it and, you know, destroy the trust and the playability. And I mean, like, trust and expectation in TCGs is everything. Right now, people are investing and buying into One Piece cards because they trust that Bandai has been around the block. They've been running TCGs for so many years, like multiple decades, that they know the game and they understand the golden goose and the cash cow that they have with One Piece, as long as they don't mess it up by massively reprinting stuff that they, you know, their hobby base is expecting them not to reprint. Like, if they had to reprint OPO1 blue bottom booster boxes or white bottom booster boxes at this point, the market would freak out and people would be pissed. And prices would probably, you know, retrace quite a bit in that news. And Bandai doesn't want to do that. They don't want to burn their players and their collectors and the people who are supporting the hobby and buying in. And they're willing to, you know, forego a little bit of profit because, you know, they'd make a crap ton of money reselling that reprinted product. Like, people would buy the shit out of that. I would buy the shit out of it. They'd make a lot of money in the short term. But they understand in the long term, they're going to make more money breeding the collectability of the game and not reprinting old stuff and just, you know, letting it appreciate in value and letting the secondary market eat. You know, Bandai is letting the secondary market eat, which is incredibly important in trading card games. You need all aspects of a market for it to be successful. Believe it or not, you know, you do need people who make money in the secondary market who can then turn that money back into the hobby down the line for a successful TCG to exist long term. I don't think Riftbound's going to be that. I'll be maybe willing to change my mind if Riftbound can make it over that 3-year TCG hump with no reprints. But if not, I think it's cooked. So that's a TLDR. Let me see your comments below. Hit that subscribe button. Comment what you want me to talk about next, baby. Bigace out!